It's 8:20 p.m. on the 14th of May 2018, and this is 37-year-old pharmacist Mitesh Patel from Middlesbrough, North East England, calling the local police in a state of obvious distress.
Oh, hiya. I think we've been burgled and my wife's been attacked.
Whereabouts? What's the address?
We're on number 35, the Avenue in Middlesbrough, Linthorpe.
Right, is that where your wife is now?
Yeah, well, I've just come home. I was just out. I went to get something to eat and see the lads at work and get my laptop. And I've just come home and the house is ransacked. And she's just on the floor. She's got duct tape all over her and she's unconscious.
Right.
Shall I take this duct tape off her?
Can she breathe?
Well, no, because she's unconscious.
Take the duct tape off her then.
Please, can you send someone quickly?
Yeah, I am.
Poor sod, coming home, as we've all just heard, to find his wife bound, gagged and dead. But who wanted his wife of 9 years, 34-year-old Jessica Patel, dead, and why? If you're enjoying the video so far, do subscribe, give the video a like, drop a comment when you're ready, and donate. Hit the thanks button below, I'll appreciate you. The eldest of 6 siblings and coming from a strict and traditional Hindu family, Jessica is born on the 16th of September 1983. She likes her Bollywood rom-coms and, in the early 2000s, when she's studying pharmacy at De Montfort University, she likes a fellow student of hers. He comes from a Hindu family like her own. His name is Mitesh Patel, and their wedding of 2009 captures the beauty and the romance of the weddings that Jessica always used to see in her beloved Bollywood comedy. Just her luck though that, unlike in those same Bollywood films, her husband turns out to be gay. Jessica makes this infuriating and treacherous discovery a few months into her marriage when she uncovers her husband's relationship with a doctor called Amit Patel. No relation to Mitesh, except obviously as his bit on the side. Even when her husband urges her that the relationship is over since the doctor is about to emigrate to Australia, which he fucking isn't, and which enables his relationship with Mitesh to endure as long as Mitesh's very marriage, their own relationship doesn't improve in any way. Before learning of her husband's rampant homosexuality, you see, her husband had already turned ice cold towards her, not touching her, not talking to her, barely even looking at her. Now, given this, and given the sexual orientation of her husband, why didn't Jessica just leave the man and get a divorce? Because in her culture, which she shared with her husband, you just don't. How Jessica planned, if she actually did, to live any sort of meaningful and happy life from this point onwards, I don't know. What I do know is that she suffered, additionally, her husband's markedly controlling and cruel behaviour towards her, in which he stopped her visiting her family, even in emergency situations, and slapped her about when she really got on his tits, for instance, by demanding to be allowed to go and see her mum. Even when her own father came to see them, having been tipped off about Mitesh's total bastardom by his other daughters, with whom Jessica had avidly shared the details of her husband's day-to-day cruelty, she ended up looking like the bad guy. I don't know how exactly, but Mitesh managed to twist the facts and convince his father-in-law that his daughter was the cunt, always provoking him and causing trouble in their marriage. After this occasion, in order to avoid having to see Jessica's family in case he couldn't wriggle his way out of any new allegations of cruelty, including physical violence against his wife, Mitesh dragged Jessica up to Linthorpe, Middlesbrough, where they bought a pharmacy, bought a home, and didn't start a family. I don't know what Jessica's own alleged fertility problems were, and I don't know how the fuck she was putting up with moving so far away from her family against her will and continuing to live with her cruel and selfish knob of a husband without going fucking doolally. As for Mitesh, his fertility problems comprised of A, he's being bent as a boomerang, and B, he's taken a drug to lower his sperm count in order not to get his wife pregnant in his moments of friendliness towards her. And I'm actually surprised that he ever offered Jessica any such moments in the first place. Mind you, I suppose he had to at least act like he was trying to get his wife knocked up so that she could report back to her mum that they were doing their best to start a family, since that would help reduce the criticism from her mum and from her dad about not having had a baby. Unaware, furthermore, of her husband's sabotaging of their baby-making efforts, Jessica was probably thankful that her husband was at least trying for once to do something for their marriage, hungry as she was to become a mother. In their subsequent 3 rounds of IVF, which they resorted to when, thanks to Mitesh's sperm suppressing actions, Jessica just couldn't get pregnant. Mitesh came off the sperm suppressants. He wanted the IVF to work so that, after doing his wifing as he planned to as soon as they got their embryos, he could cash in his wife's £2 million life insurance policy and sail off into the horizon with his beloved Dr. Amit and raise the baby with him. You know, I find it surprising that the man had any sort of paternal instincts in the first place. He was selfish, cruel, cold-hearted and callous, not the sort of characteristics that you associate with nurturing a child. Anyway, police discovered on arriving at the crime scene that there was neither a sexual motive for the crime nor, to their even greater surprise, any sign of forced entry. The place was a total mess though, items scattered everywhere, furniture knocked over, drawers sticking out. Even so, the perpetrator had to be either someone that Jessica knew or someone that she'd just let in. But again, one such person would most probably have been someone that she knew. In light of this, the police began looking at the victim's inner circle of friends and family and wanted likewise to begin to look at the CCTV that the couple had in their home, only to find the hard drive was gone. So then they all began looking at none other than the heavily grieving husband, Mitesh Patel. Well, some of them did anyway, while others went and searched the bedroom and promptly found the hard drive that Mitesh couldn't even hide properly after taking it out of the base unit of the CCTV, which he did before dialing 999 to cover his murderous tracks. Not that the police had seriously believed that the man's suggestion that the burglar or burglars who had slain his wife, but who hadn't taken a single thing from the home, had run upstairs, known where the CCTV hard drive was, snatched it and then taken flight. Between the couple's own CCTV and the CCTV from a nearby business, police were able to establish a clear timeline of the perpetrator's steps. 3:30 p.m, Mitesh arrived home from the gym and didn't leave the house. 7 p.m, Jessica arrived home. 7:44 p.m, Mitesh goes out. 8:15 p.m, Mitesh returns. However, on the footage, nobody else was seen either coming to or leaving the house. And then, 6 minutes before Mitesh called emergency services, the man's home CCTV was disconnected. A subsequent search of the pharmacy uncovered £25,000 in cash, a stash of jewellery and a hoard of gold bars, all hidden in a safe. The police also found a plastic bag containing a further £2,000 in cash. Through the health app on Mitesh's iPhone, they tracked his heart rate in his footsteps around the home at the time of the murder. This showed that while Mitesh had been pacing around the house at 7:04 p.m, his wife, in contrast, didn't move at all. Using Jessica's phone, police determined that 40 minutes later, bringing us to the point when Mitesh left for the pizza place, Jessica's very phone was suddenly outside. This was Mitesh's attempt to make it look like the non-existent burglars had dropped the phone on their way out following their break-in. Shortly after, Mitesh had called 999. It's believed that after this, he went and hid the CCTV hard drive, and that's in keeping with the timeline from the police that I mentioned earlier. Jessica's cause of death was suffocation, her husband having strangled her so hard that he broke some of the bones in her voice box. The tongue bone, perhaps? Sorry, but this is bringing to mind the case of poor Sarah Sharif, that 10-year-old girl who was battered to death by her father, who had strangled his daughter so many times before that he had broken her tongue bone. Anyway, before he began asphyxiating his wife, Mitesh had somehow injected her with insulin, rendering her unable to fight back. After then getting Jessica down onto the floor, he strangled her for a number of minutes. Following that, he put a polythene bag over her mouth and kept suffocating her for another 20 minutes. Not one to do things by halves, this bloke. Despite her involuntary insulin overdose, Jessica struggled for her life for 20 agonising minutes, trying with everything she had to fight her husband off. And in fact, the DNA found in the scratches detected in Mitesh's neck soon after the police arrived was, of course, her own, since scratching the neck of her savage brute of a husband was just about all she could do to try to defeat his own violence. Oh, come on, let's be done with the story of the evil, selfish fucker Mitesh Patel right now. Jessica's family hates him, his own family hates him, and instead of eloping to Australia with his longtime lover Dr. Amit and raising a family, he's doing 30 years behind bars. If this video has gripped you, I recommend you to watch this one next. I'll meet you there.